Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we are yet again in another lesson today. Because it is summer, I'm really trying to kind of do as many lessons as I possibly can while I can enjoy that nice weather outside. But sometimes it's not, always the best thing, I guess. Especially that day. I remember we had a lot of issues, communication issues that day. It was nothing really particular happening. Like as you can see, it's pretty quiet outside. There's nobody out there. It's really just us two, and then my coach, which is on the side right behind the camera. But for some reason, Hazel wasn't on her A game that day, so she wasn't really fully with me. And you'll see exactly what happened and on her bad days, if you will. First things first here, always warm up your horse. So that's what we're doing here. And that's also when I realized that Hazel wasn't fully available. And when I mean available, I just mean mentally the horse is not like 110% with you, like not even 100. So it seemed that day like I had maybe 50 or 60% focus with me, and it's sometimes not enough. So you really have to slowly start pushing that boundaries a little bit more and try to get the horse to really engage with you, because it's really hard to ride a horse that's not, on the bit, that doesn't want to really push forward, it's not paying attention to what you're telling them. So it's just a little bit different, and it's a little bit harder. So that's what happened on our little bit of our bad days, if you will. So you've seen a few of them happening over time. Of course, nobody's perfect. No human's perfect and no horse is perfect either. So there's some good days, there's some bad days, but the whole point of riding is also to get through those days together. Sometimes it might be me that's off, and sometimes it's her that's off. So it really helps me out when she's right there with me, and then I am also hopefully helping her out when she is in that kind of state as well. So here what I'm trying to do is just to get her to stay forward here and engage herself a little bit with me. Instead of being all nose up in the air, I just want her to be right there and responsive to my hands and my leg. And as you can see here, even though I'm asking her to kind of slow down, put her head right and low, I'm just not getting the response that I need. So right here, as you can see, it's not necessarily what I wanted to happen, but sometimes I'm lacking here suppleness, I'm lacking bend, I'm not getting the results that I want. And I can't really put a finger as to what's going on with Hazel that day. There's literally nothing outside. She's had a nice long day outside in her paddock, and I was just picking her up as I do every Monday to pick her up for her lesson. And I just noticed that she was just not feeling her greatest. As we were riding, I noticed that she was a little bit bloated, she let a couple of gases, actually way more than she usually does. So I don't know if she had some stomach issues, that she wasn't fully settled down there, and it was just kind of taking her attention away from what we were doing. But regardless, I'm trying here to do a nice spiral motion and just get her into the center of the circle, to try to work that bend here, because I feel like she's also very stiff and resistant. As you can see, that's not the best bend I've ever seen on this horse. She is definitely resisting it a little bit. Her shoulders are not properly lined up. So for me as a rider, it's a lot of little dots I have to align in order to get the results that I want. Mind you, it's not the worst thing in the world. It doesn't look that bad, but it definitely felt way worse than it looked, if that makes sense. I felt her right in my hand, rushing through, sometimes just abandoning contact altogether. So you're not too sure if she's gonna bolt forward or what's gonna happen, but she just kind of just drops on you. So in those instances, you just really try to engage and keep on engaging the horse as much as you can. So you're gonna do some slight motions with your wrists and your fingers, and try to get them to be right on the bit with you and keep that connection. And in meanwhile, you're gonna have to push them forward into the bit and get them ready to just basically oblige themselves and push themselves into your hand, so you can have a bit more control. And as you can see here, I'm also avoiding Hazel to go right on the side of the track. I want her to be a little bit towards the inside of the track, about like 4 to 5 feet, if that makes sense. And every single time, her shoulder is just not right at the right place. So I'm having a huge time with that. So I'm just slowly trying to really get the results that I want. So my coach is basically telling me to turn sooner, try to just avoid that problem corner altogether. And here's the same thing, we get a little bit of resistance on the other side when I'm asking her to step off the track. So as you were able to see, that's how Hazel typically reacts when she's like upset and not happy about something. She's just gonna raise her head a little bit, back off, or do a side pass, and she just does that until she kind of just gets to a stopping point, which is something that you don't really want to happen, because she just kind of stuck. So you have to really push her forward afterwards. And as you can see here, we're doing really good. I'm actually able to get her in the inside of the track, exactly where I want her, and she's doing well. So what I do in this time, I'm just kind of rewarding her and just kind of giving her a little bit more rein, giving her a little bit more control, trying to be a little bit more supple in my hands, to just really kind of reward that behavior, that she's doing the right thing. So, you know, she doesn't have to get too upset. She's got exactly what I asked for. Sometimes, you know, in those days where the horse is not feeling the greatest, you get a little bit of a disconnection between you and the horse, and that really translates into their emotions as well. So I don't know, in that instant particularly, she was a little bit more emotional. She was getting really upset about not understanding what I was asking her, maybe because she was caught up in the moment, or she wasn't paying attention, and for her it was just kind of overwhelming for half a second there. So you just slow it down, you take it easy. As you can see here, we're not going next level yet. Like, we're not pushing into a canter, we're not doing anything other than that, because I still don't have the control that I want. So as you can see here, I can get some haunches, like her back end, to move a little bit, but I'm not able to get what I want. So see what happens when I'm pushing her forward into the canter. It's a little bit patchy, so I have a lot of damage control to do, making sure we can fix that circle and really work that through. So it wasn't too bad for a first canter. What I like about the canter is it seems to kind of really help Hazel balance herself and collect herself. So it's a good tool for me to kind of use if ever I need more kind of engagement from her end, is really to push her into a canter, because I know she's going to be self-carried. She's been almost self-carried since day one in the canter. Her head, she just puts it in the right place and keeps it there. So it makes it a little easier for me to manage with my legs, but I have to manage and do some damage control like I had to do a little bit earlier on when we took the canter on a diagonal rather than on a half circle, which is not a big deal for as long as she picks up the speed when I ask her to. That's at least great. Then I'm just going to do a lot of damage control, so just trying to get the proper bend, get the proper speed, and get the right collection. So that's 3 things you got to work on when something like that happens. It's not like the end of the world. As you can see, I kind of managed to get it fixed rather quickly. You want it to be fixed as soon as possible, obviously. So that's something really important, but it's not the end of the world. So, you know, when I feel like my horse is like, you know, giving her 70%, 75%, You know, you always try to push them to the next level, but you also have to be mindful that sometimes you're just not going to get what you really want. So you're just going to have to manage and make do for the day and just really keep on continuing with what you've got. So here finally we're getting some good engagement from Hazel. She's starting to slowly open up. Like I said, she did release a lot of gases over the ride, and maybe she was feeling better towards the end, but it's more of a mental game at this stage. So I'm trying my hardest not to be aggravated, just because I know Hazel's better, like, you know, she's better than that. She knows her drill. So just a little upsetting sometimes for me, especially I believe that day I had like a really bad day at work, so I was just really trying to just stay off my head as well, because my horse needs me, just to really be available for her so I can help her out. But yeah, it was just a little bit of a patchy communication from both sides, I think, and our brains were just not syncing properly. But as you can see here, we're getting some nice bend, and we're finally getting some suppleness and some nice movements from her. So I was actually really pleased, because it just basically turns out your frown upside down, as we say, and it just makes you a little bit more happy and more content. And then the more happy you get, the better the horse also gets, because you're gonna release a lot of pressure for them, and just release your hands, stop doing too many motion, just let them just enjoy the flow. So for those of you that haven't seen my last video, you might notice something different about Hazel and the way she moves. She is definitely using her rear end way more than her front end now, for all gaits. So like for the trot, canter, and the walk, and it's starting to really show through and shine. And as you can see, especially in the canter here, you can see a huge difference in the balance itself. We're getting some nice and smooth motion. And I'm getting really used to getting that nice feel now, because it's just a very different ride altogether. It's like having a car that's like a front wheel drive, and then all of a sudden like driving a car that's a rear wheel drive. It's just it's a whole different dynamic. And in the horse, it's a little bit more than that, because it's not a car. It's, you know, it's something like living, and you feel every single thing under your saddle. You really feel a huge difference in those two. In these two different motion here. But most likely what you're gonna feel is a nice smooth transition forward, and the downward will also be a little bit easier, depending. Sometimes she rushes through a little bit in her back end. She still has to adjust, like she understands the gist of like, okay, hey, I'm gonna use my back legs, but she sometimes doesn't catch, you know, the same signal with the front. So that's something we just are working on, because she just got this new knowledge now. She just got this whole new curve of learning, and so we're just working her through that. So you might notice that we are also working Hazel a little bit more in the one direction, more than the other, and that's because we have to build up some muscle to compensate for some like natural weakness that she has on the one diagonal. So on the one side for her, it's harder to canter, and that's why we have to be working a little bit harder at that side. The other side is really a breeze. It's really easy to get in and out of the canter, like no problem, like she's had this skill since the beginning, but these muscles are taking a little bit of time to build up, and we're just trying to help it by doing a little bit of extra work on this side. But do not worry, Hazel has a lot of practitioners that are actually coming and helping us out in this as well. And so she gets massages, and she gets a chiropractor, and she also gets what's called PEMF, which is like an electric circuit that really helps to get the blood flow going into the muscles, and also like promotes relaxation and promotes healing, and that really helps when you're actually trying to build muscle the proper way. So all these practitioners are really in tune with us, and I am actually calling them a little bit more often, just because I really want her to build that muscle properly, and I want her to be relaxed and not have any pain from it as well. So I'm really doing my best and my part to making sure that she gets the proper training, she gets the proper tools to get that canter diagonal figured out. When I actually moved Hazel about 2-3 years ago from Ottawa to Toronto, she started really showing a lot of signs from not lameness, but if you will, like some kind of laziness from that diagonal, slowly. So the back leg wasn't lifting as much as the other back leg if you were to compare them, and now it's getting like to the point where with rehab and a lot of work, it's starting to really make sense and be really even, which is something I wouldn't have thought be possible, because she was literally dragging that leg from day one when I owned her. So well, of course you want to ride because she's still rideable, but it's just like that leg in the back has been always like her lazy leg, as I call it. So it's been a little bit hard to work that leg, but seeing it so functional today, I have no regrets in all the, you know, the care that I've put into it, and of course the money that I've put into it to make sure that she is fully rehabbed. So time here to go on the other side here. This side is a little bit easy peasy for us, a little bit easier to just get a good grip from the get-go. And as you can see, I can get some pretty decent just sitting trot here off of her now, which is wonderful. It's a nice feeling to just feel that the horse is working under you and everything is going so much smoother. So I really appreciate those times where I can just sit and do my sitting trot, not having to bounce like half a meter off the saddle. And if I wish, I could also do a rising trot. That's definitely not an issue as well. But she's getting to the point where her suppleness is definitely catching up, and I get to be a little bit more smooth when I'm doing my sitting trot, and it doesn't show as much. I hope you guys enjoyed this little weekly update of our lesson here. Even though it wasn't our best ride, you always have to keep in mind that the horse is doing the most that they can, and sometimes it's not 100%, but you just gotta take what's available. So once again, I hope you enjoyed this video and that you've learned something new. Please give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe and tell all your friends. Thank you again, and I'll see you guys very, very soon. Bye for now.